Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk to you about the right to repair. As you know, we are coming up upon an election year in 2020. The vote is going to be happening in November. Because of COVID 19, a lot of us are choosing to do mail in voting. If you happen to live in Massachusetts, there is a ballot initiative that is coming up. It is question one, and it's called the Right to Repair Law. So, because one of the classes I teach is an information security class and an advanced class in the spring, I would like to take a minute to talk to you about the Right to Repair Law on question one. So, let's start with what is right to repair. The idea behind right to repair is once you buy a device that you are able to legally fix your own device. Now, this might seem like a more obvious thing to some of you, but what's actually happened in the United States is that we don't have the right to repair our own devices. And we technically don't have the right to fix our own phones or cars or motorcycles or anything like that necessarily, and that can depend on the state that you live in. In Massachusetts, we actually do currently have a right to repair law that's less than the one that's coming up. The right to repair can actually be any consumer good. So we could be talking about cars or phones, but anything that has a computer chip in it. One of the things that I know a lot of people don't always realize is the amount of computers that we actually interact with every day. So you might recognize that you interact with your desktop or your laptop, especially for those of us doing, work from home, hashtag work from home life. But we actually probably interact with many more computers than that. If you have a newer car, your newer car probably has multiple chips in it to control everything from the braking to the amount of gas that's being pumped in to all of the sensors. If you have newer appliances, those probably have computers in them as well. And if you have, for example, a washer that has a digital timer that has a chip in it. If you have a dishwasher that sends you a text message when it's finished, that has a chip in it. If you happen to work on a farm, almost all the equipment that you run on your farm, if you have anything in the newer side, actually probably has a chip in it. So part of the reason right to repair became such a controversial topic is actually because the farmers started buying older equipment, pieces of farm equipment from the 80s, because they could repair them indefinitely. And some of the larger farm equipment companies were actually putting in so many chips and so much DRM that it was preventing the farmers from being able to use their own equipment. Now, there's lots of household goods, household appliances that all have chips as well, and right to repair, ideally, hopefully someday, will also encompass those. However, right now, what we're focusing on in Massachusetts for question one is the right to repair law for vehicle data access. Now, as of right now, Massachusetts does have an automotive right to repair. We actually voted for this in 2012 and it was put into place in law in 2013. And it basically said that independent repair shops were allowed to continue fixing vehicles. 20 other states have actually introduced right to repair bills, but they've actually all been basically mothballed. One of the things that happened that was really sad is a lot of these bills were introduced into the government, and because they weren't good for large corporations posted lots and lots of money to get these bills shot down and taken away. So, as of right now, I know Massachusetts has an automotive right to repair. I don't believe any other state actually does. That's current knowledge from me, September 23rd, 2020. Now, if you are interested, if this is already something that you want to get involved in, you want to have more information, I've included a link here to repair.org, and this is a website that has information that is going to be pro right to repair, because it's a coalition of, independent auto parts manufacturers and people like that. Now, in Massachusetts, what we have right now is the right to repair our cars. The expansion, which is what we're talking about for the November 3rd, 2020 election, is expanding the right to repair our cars using a standardized open data platform. The sort of English translation. Right now, most of the cars that are being sold have wireless access. They are continually sending data and information wirelessly. And all of that information is getting sent to the dealers. And what this expanded right to repair law is saying is that the information that is being sent should be sent in a standardized form so that the dealers aren't choosing the form individually. So that, like, if you have a Honda, they're going to have a different data form than a Nissan, and that's going to be different than a Ford. What this law is saying is that everybody has to have a standardized data platform so that all of the data is coming out of the car in the same way so that people will be able to access it themselves. And part of what this right to repair law is trying to do is make it so that vehicle owners and independent repair shops will be able to get the data and run diagnostics wirelessly. Right now, they can do it by plugging in a personal computer, but they are not allowed to do it wirelessly. And this initiative would require that the companies, by 2020, the model year 2020 for cars, would have a standard open data platform that if you own the vehicle, you would be able to give permission to a repair shop to fix your car. Really, all that would change is your vehicle would have data that your choice of independent repair shop would be able to access wirelessly instead of having to plug a personal computer into the car. The repair shops, independent repair shops, consumers, you own your car, you'd still be able to gather your own data. You could run your own diagnostics if you wish. You wouldn't have to in any way. You would just have the ability to bring it to the repair shop of your choice, and they would be able to access the data from your car, probably through some variety of mobile-based application. Now, the yes and the no. So for question 1, if you vote yes, then you are voting to require that manufacturers standardize how you get data with models starting in 2022. You are saying that you want independent repair shops, so the repair shop of your choice would be able to get the data and run diagnostics, and they could do it over a wireless collection. You would still have to give consent. So by going to the repair shop, you would have the ability to give consent to the independent repair facilities before your data is shared. If you vote no, then you would be keeping the current law in place, which does not include telematics systems with wireless accessibility. If you'd like to know more about this, massrighttorepair.org has a list of facts if you would like more facts about that. Now, lastly, my opinion. So, if you don't want my opinion, please feel free to stop the video and go along. My opinion is that once you buy a device, it's yours. And I think that you should have the right to access and save your own data. You should have the right to share your data as you wish. And I actually think that this should be true of all electronics, not just cars. I think that our right to repair law doesn't go far enough, and we should include all electronic and computer equipment. I feel that if I am going to buy a household appliance or a phone, I should legally be allowed to fix my own device if I want. And that can absolutely come with the possibility of me breaking things. And you know what? If I try to fix it and I break it, it's my own fault. And I should have the ability to make that choice. I also think that paying attention to best practices in information security, companies having frequent audits, and lots of expert participation in the standards of how things are created, that's what protects you. Secrecy and DRM doesn't protect you. And trying to create something in relying on secrecy and having a car manufacturer that is relying on a secret formula to protect it is only as good as the formula. Somebody is going to break it. And rather than relying on somebody having a secret formula, what we should rely on instead is having lots of people look at the formula until it's the best that it can be, standardize it, and then do something like paying attention to best practices with how we access all of our other data. We do a lot of things wirelessly now and through our phones and applications and computers. And the DRM isn't what protects us. DRM doesn't stop piracy. DRM doesn't stop people stealing things. DRM doesn't even really slow people down from that. And if you look at piracy, for example, DRM didn't make people less likely to pirate things. What made people less likely to pirate things is having reasonably priced options like Netflix and Amazon Prime, and piracy went down when people had these reasonably priced options where they could access what they wanted. And I think that it's more important that we give people choices. Making a secure system from the ground up, having experts participate, and having a standard that everybody is following is a better way of doing this than hoping that a company does the right thing. I don't think that we should have to hope that a car manufacturer does the right thing with our data. I think we should be able to choose where we bring our cars to. I think that we shouldn't have to hope that a car manufacturer allows us to run our own diagnostics. I think that once we buy the car, we should be able to run our own diagnostics if we want and choose where we bring our car to. So that's the right to repair question one. I hope that everybody will choose to vote in the November 3rd, 2020 election and all future elections. If you have not already done your application for mail in voting in Massachusetts, you can still do that until the end of October. Please make sure that you vote and educate yourself about all of the candidates and all of the bills that are coming in whatever state you live in. And I hope that you will all make your voice heard and vote.